The US president has been forced to clarify his position on a potential Russian invasion of Ukraine. In a major address marking the first year in office, Joe Biden appeared to downplay the threat of a minor incursion, indicating it would prompt a lesser Western response. The remark signalled NATO was at odds over how to respond to Russian aggression, depending on the type of attack. His Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, has publicly rebuked the comments, saying, "We want to remind the great powers that there are no minor incursions and small nations, just as there are no minor casualties and little grief from the loss of loved ones. I say this as a president of a great power." The American president has since strengthened his stance this morning. Speaking at the start of a meeting on infrastructure, he told reporters he's been clear with the president of Russia, and he threatened severe sanctions against the nation should any military units move into Ukraine.
If any assembled Russian units move across the Ukrainian border, that is an invasion. But it will be met with severe and coordinated economic response that I've discussed in detail with our allies, as well as laid out very clearly for President Putin. But there is no doubt, let there be no doubt at all, that if Putin makes this choice, Russia will pay a heavy price.
And US President Joe Biden promised Americans a return to normal, but exactly 1 year into his presidency, normality still seems a way off. Biden made dozens of pledges during the election campaign. Brent O'Halloran takes a look at the key promises he's kept and broken.
First official entrance to the White House.
365 days ago, he strode down Pennsylvania Avenue in triumph. Joe Biden's path to the White House was paved with promises. But many of those pledges, which wooed 81 million voters, appear to have been tossed aside. Website PolitiFact has been tracking 99 of the promises Joe Biden made during the 2020 presidential campaign. By its assessment, Biden kept 16 of those, compromised on 3, 46 are considered in the works, 24 stalled, and 10 aren't yet able to be rated. That's roughly the same success rate his predecessor had at the same time.
I guess I'd characterize it as a mixed bag.
On COVID, which he identified as his top priority, a $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill passed, his 100 million vaccinations target was met, but he didn't deliver on his promised normality by Christmas.
They've failed in some of the messaging that they needed to do around COVID. I think that would have helped this latest surge.
Biden managed to get the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill through Congress, paused federal student debt payments, rescinded the permit for the controversial Keystone Oil pipeline, and reversed this controversial action.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
But Biden broke a promise to stop new oil and gas permits on federal land, failed to roll back President Trump's corporate tax cuts or enact meaningful gun laws, and the migrant detention facilities Trump was decried for are still in operation.
He has not been able to make major accomplishments in terms of civil rights or immigration policy, both commitments that he made during the campaign.
Biden blames the Democrats' razor-thin majorities in the House and Senate. It's 50-50 in the Senate, where two members of his own party have effectively been holding the president's agenda to ransom.
It's almost become a running joke that Joe Manchin, the senator from West Virginia, is the actual president, and Kristen Sinema, the Democratic senator from Arizona, is the actual vice president.
Those broken and stalled promises may be partly to blame for the president's woeful polling. His approval rating is currently around 42%. Only one president in 77 years has been lower at this stage of their presidency. That is Donald Trump. And there has been a marked drop in the number of Americans identifying as Democrats, from 49 to 42%, while the share of those identifying as Republican rose from 40 to 47. That is dire news for the Democrats ahead of November's congressional elections.
Most conventional analysis and most historical data suggests that Republicans have a really big advantage going to those elections.
Joe Biden has 10 months to turn it around, to save his party and its House majority. But it may be unwise for the president to make that promise. Brent O'Halloran, Sky News.